Right.
Hello.
We have someone jumping in. Okay, right. Today we're going to talk about riots and civil disorder because of what's been going on in the UK, and we're going to also talk about some other things. We've got Yosh with us. Say hello, Yosh.
Hello.
We have the bear.
Yes, it is me.
Wow. We've got Sound of Silence.
Hello, everybody.
We have and Blue.
Hello.
We
Lewis
are
is
waiting
currently
on.
destroying a super salad.
Sorry.
Lewis is currently destroying a super salad.
Yes,
If people don't know what that is, it's a
no.
salad, pasta, and pizza buffet
McDonald's.
bar.
And
Looking at
we
you,
are
Theo.
waiting for a couple of the people to arrive as and when, including one of the people that we're really hoping to hear from, which will be quite useful. So I will start with Sound, giving us his take on what he thought's been going on.
From what I can gather, I've not been massively in the loop this past week. I've been a little bit under the weather. But from what I can gather, there seemed to have been a protest in response to a police shooting of somebody who was basically not causing any trouble, wasn't involved in anything. And that protest initially started quite peacefully, but then got out of hand and started to turn slightly violently. And then all the idiots swooped in. And since then, all we've had are people smashing shops, stealing goods. It's not any kind of political agenda that they've got, or they're not protesting for anything. They are just stealing for personal gain. And this is now spread from London to, I think, about half a dozen other cities across the country. There doesn't actually seem to be any kind of motivation for it.
You said at first you don't think that Mark Duggan, which is the guy who was shot, was actually a threat to the police or something along those lines.
I'm hazy as to the details, but
The details have not really been revealed as yet. So
I think with the rioting that's happened following because there was initially a peaceful protest, with the rioting that's happened, people have kind of been focused on that, and they may or may not be just trying to take things carefully. But the news was saying that what happened was, as far as they could determine, Duggan did have a gun, which, legal firearm in this country, loaded. So he posed a threat, and given those circumstances, the police were actually quite well within their rights to do their jobs and eliminate a potential threat to not only themselves but all the rest of the people around in the area.
Was he shooting it though? Or did he have it out?
I don't know whether or not he had it hidden or he had it open, but apparently, I haven't yet tracked down a source that's confirmed this, a news source or anything, but apparently he knew that the police were after him because his last text message was to his girlfriend saying the feds, in inverted commas, because we didn't have feds, were after him.
I've seen that the mainstream media has had to publish various errata because originally their statement was that Mark Duggan actually shot at the police, which has actually turned out to be incorrect, although I take it he was still armed. Because a lot of the media were originally led to believe that, yes, he shot at the police, and that was
we
why.
don't know if he shot them or not. We don't know whether he shot or not. It's
from
unlikely.
what I understand, they don't think he shot at anyone, but the fact that he had an illegal weapon that was armed, or that he was armed and it was loaded, it posed a risk.
You also got to take into the initial peaceful protest was about Mark Duggan, wasn't it?
It was.
That was his family. People have often said it was originally started with black people, but that's sort of misrepresenting what actually happened. His immediate family and close relatives and friends were at first protesting peacefully. Of course, a lot of them would be black, which is why some people think that it was black people who started this riot. Then it just got hijacked, pretty much, by people who wanted to either prove a point or just have a riot.
Yeah.
There are some other means by which this could have started or been triggered. A lot of policies that David Cameron's been bringing out. He's basically been cutting public spending Unemployment in the area is pretty high, or in the affected areas. There are so many things that could have been responsible, but it's down to individuals, really, isn't it? You can't say it's because of this or it's because of that. A lot of it is just opportunistic losing. But for a lot of other people, it might be different.
I mean,
They're also posting photos of themselves on the social media and putting their stuff up on Craigslist and things like that already. So they're just doing it for the money. They're not doing it to make a statement.
There was quite a funny story. There's one kid who posted a picture of himself with all his looted goods on Facebook, saying that he'd looted it. And there's also one where it was originally going to be planned to happen in Plymouth, down where I live.
Yes, I was going to mention this.
And there was a Facebook page, because people down in Plymouth are thick. Don't really think this through. They put a Facebook page up, and anyone who clicked on the page saw a message from the deputy of police saying, "We know who you are. It's probably not the best idea to do this."
And as far as I can gather, when it actually came to a head, about 10 people went into Plymouth city centre to start a riot and were met by 15 police, and they just sort of backed off immediately, and the whole thing diffused.
Now, the most wonderful thing about this that we can laugh at the looters about, anything they've stolen from Apple shops or that are Apple products, Apple's already said they're going to contact every single store, find out what inventory is missing, and turn them off so they cannot be used on any of the networks.
yeah.
Brilliant.
You can always rely on Apple, can't you?
We've got to look, instead of just looking at the looters and the rioters and the protesters, we've also got to look at how it's been handled by both the police and the politicians. There's a bit of a blame game going on as to whose fault it was initially and how it was handled between the police and the politicians. Cameron has been trying to take credit for the number of police officers in London. I believe it was 16,000, was it? Were deployed into London streets. He's trying to take credit for that, even though he didn't actually make the decision. And the reason the riots were so bad in the first place was because there's fewer police officers on the streets, and that's down to the fact that he's cut public spending. And yet he's trying to blame the police officers for not having enough police on the streets when he was the one who cut their spending in the first place.
This is something which I don't know whether. Well, I think we're going to have to cover this in a bit more detail. But David Cameron has said that he does want more policemen by whatever year, 2012 or whatever.
Yeah, but how are you supposed to get more police officers if he's cutting the spending?
Well, this is the thing. I think is that I suspect he may well achieve his target, or at least there will be a drive for recruiting police officers. But I don't think that they're going to get any more money. So that money's going to be spread even more thinly over more police officers. So I don't honestly know how that policy is going to
they'll be less well trained.
Almost certainly. And something which I don't know whether we want to talk about it now, but he said that he's very much in favour of giving policemen more rights to be able to act in the middle of situations.
Hello, Tyrannosaurus Alan.
Hello, Lewis. Thank you for just ruining the flow of the show.
That deserves the game.
Oh, God damn it. Sorry I'm late, guys. My internet has been on the shitter all day today, so I just now got it back.
That's what you get for ruining the flow.
You get the game.
Womble, you just made the Doctor lose the game.
Did I? But he can't really be the Doctor, because the Doctor doesn't lose. He would have invented the game for some strange reason that would involve some sort of psychic telepathic field that will enable him to win.
That's quite
you don't have decent TV over in the States.
What I was saying was that I've lost it now. Thank you, Lewis. David Cameron has said that the problem with modern policing is that they're not allowed to do anything during situation. In some cases they've had to stand back and watch people looting stuff and taking down notes so that it can then be used as evidence in court later.
You know why that is? Because if the police get involved, then something is blatantly going to happen where people complain about the police.
Yeah.
And they'll start losing money.
Yeah,
I mean,
they don't want this reputation.
Fuck the police.
Well, it's Well,
They weren't-
one of the problems is if someone is being legitimately arrested and they get bruised and injured, they could then turn around and have a go at the police for injury. And depending on what happens, there is the potential risk that they'll be able to get away with suing the police for injury, even though they were in the wrong.
Have you going slightly off a bit? Who David Cameron's taken in for advice?
No.
He's an American, and I'm thinking, why would Cameron take advice from an American when America has probably got one of the worst crime rates in the Western world?
But we have some of the most brutal cops, so
Brutality isn't the be-all and end-all.
it is too.
Lewis just gave me an idea. We can stop the rioting from ever happening again. We're going to send London Sheriff Joe.
Who's Sheriff Joe?
Joe. Sheriff Joe is Joe RPO. The guy's under investigation right now by the federal government for being very abusive.
Is he the dude that set up roadblocks to find potheads?
I'm not sure. He's the one who's anti-immigration and has friends with neo-Nazi skinheads and.
Typical.
We had a question in chat. I didn't see who it was from. I think it might have been Pink Unicorn asking, "Have the riots stopped yet?" Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they have now.
It is sort of dispersed. It started in London. It was quite big. It was all sort of together, and it was all.
Well, because I for the first 3-ish nights or so, I was watching it, and I know on the first night, and I didn't find out about it until a bit later on, and it had been going for a few hours. It was just in Tottenham. Then the next night, wasn't Tottenham, but it was in various areas around London, and then I think started in a couple of other places, maybe just Birmingham at the time. But then the third night, it was London again, lots of different areas, and Birmingham, and it started in Liverpool. And I know in total we've had London, Liverpool, Manchester, Birmingham.
Aren't you guys celebrating Guy Fawkes Day a little too early over there in England? I mean, isn't it till the 5th of November?
No, that's fireworks. It's slightly different.
Oh,
And at least Guy Fawkes did it right.
V for Vendetta taught me
problem.
that it was riots.
No. In Guy Fawkes, at least he did it right. He had a problem with the government and he tried to blow him up. So kudos to him for trying to do it right. Although he failed.
Yeah, so that's
Unfortunately,
V for Vendetta taught me that it was rioting. So that's what I thought they were doing. I thought this is what this whole thing's happening. I thought V started coming to reality.
Unfortunately, the guy was trying to instill the Catholic Church as the head of the government instead of democracy or whatever.
I dropped out the call for a moment, so I just want to quickly.
We had a slightly odd tangent.
Yeah, so I gathered from when I came back. But I should just say, from what I can gather now, I don't know whether the riots are over outright or whether they're just decreasing, but a lot of the police that were shipped into London to help deal with it, a lot of them are now being allowed to leave again. And I know that they're now starting to work through the backlog of people who have been arrested. I think so far about 800.
Last I heard it was 1,800.
I say yeah, about 1,800
The
have
number's
been
about
arrested, and about half of that have actually gone to court so far.
I think the number is 1,225.
I've got no idea on the exact figures, but I know to process them, they had a number of the courts working through the night, and it was a case of revolving door justice. That they obviously got arrested during the evening, and then as soon as possible in relation to what they had been arrested for and charged with, they were then put through to court.
Yeah, the figure that Radio 4 gave about 9 o'clock this morning was 1,600 people, and that figure may have grown. But 1,600 people have been arrested, and about half of those have been tried. But they are getting through them, aren't they?
According to the slate this morning, more than 1,900 people have been arrested in connection with the violent riots that consumed London and England's other major cities for much of this week. So that was as of, it doesn't have a time, August 12th at 10:06 a.m.
I mean, there'll be a delay with some of the arrests because I understand that they use the CCTV systems as effectively as they could. So if they didn't have police there or what the police weren't able to go in quite so well. They were getting as many facial shots as they could of the rioters to be identified at a later date. I know there's I think there's some forces have set up Tumblr websites and the like, showing the pictures of the people that they're trying to track down.
And some of them have gone into the Daily Mail saying, "Can you rat on these people, please?"
Isn't all this rioting like the sign of the end times or some shit?
To somebody somewhere, yes.
Advice to future riders.
Lef, I was saying earlier about an article in the Daily Mail which basically implied that all the rioters were atheists and all the people trying to clean up after the rioters were like religious.
Yeah.
Adam, I can't understand you. You're slurring too badly.
Yeah, I've had a few to drink.
I know before we came on, we were discussing, because there's I know for mine, Yoshimo, as you know, we all post the trailer up on our YouTube accounts, and for mine and Yoshi's trailer, it's the same guy has been going on this same agenda, that actually the riots are down to a loss of Christian values, and I don't quite think so. It's not quite that black and white, and we can also infer as well that it's not down to a race thing, because some of the people that were looting were, no, not the race thing. It's not down to poverty, because that was a big thing. It's down to the poverty. But you had people like teaching assistants, university students. It was on the news that one of the first few people to go through the courts was due to join the army in this country.
Well, wasn't one of the rioters also like an Olympic a member of the English Olympic team?
I'm not sure on that. I haven't heard anything like
that.
That's
one of the people that I heard, and also an 11-year-old.
Yeah, 11-year-old kids.
There was a paraglider who stole a guitar worth $2,000.
Holy shit! You know what I want to steal? I want to steal one of those like aqua jetpacks that they're showing on the news a lot. That's what I would steal if I was looting.
I think for me, the comic timing of it was I acquired what was a shiny new sewing machine, and I posted that up on my Facebook status, and I didn't have to pay for it, and just waiting for my inevitable friends to come on with the jibes of that. What have you been doing? But it was a hand me down. My mum.
You should. I would totally. Whatchamacallit? Let's have a small section dedicated to that. If we were there, what would we loot?
I do like
the picture that. Sorry.
I like the comedy swordfish that Colin just put up on chat. Somebody decided to steal a plastic swordfish.
No, bear in mind, I've actually given Colin some links to places where there are photoshopped pictures of the rioters.
Oh. There's a really funny video on YouTube where it's like footage of riots in England, and you see a dude standing on the side of the street, and then he kicks over a trash can.
Oh yeah. That's because everyone knows that the English are very stiff upper lipped and prim and proper.
Well, that's why that's because you guys can't have a proper riot. That's what us Americans think, at least.
I tell you what,
when we do it fucking properly.
I tell you what, I would steal rather than a guitar. I would steal a lute, just to see how it's reported on the news.
What do you mean you would steal? What the fuck is a lute?
It's a little medieval
guitar-y thing. There was on the news a report, and it got turned into a joke, that one of the Waterstone branches in one of the areas was not touched. I mean, I personally, I would be bricking in the windows on Waterstones, running around giggling with glee.
The fuck is a Waterstone?
They sell books.
Yeah, it's one of our big brand.
Well, dude, what the fuck do you think writers don't want to read? Is shit.
I know. And I would giggle, and I would run around and take one of each of all the different books, and then I'd be nice, and I'd sweep up and tidy up the glass afterwards.
There was, I'll have to see if I can find, there were some very funny messages that were posted in the windows of shops in London, one of which I think was Waterstones. I'll see if I can find them. So yeah, I would steal a loot, because it would make me both a looter and a lootist.
Mind fuck!
To the adult entertainment stores.
I've just managed to find one thing on the internet of, I think it's, I'm not sure whether it's of these riots or not, but it's somebody holding a placard saying Dumbledore wouldn't let this happen.
I'm surprised adult adult. What are they called? Adult what stores? Fucking
Entertainment.
Yeah, there we go. I'm like, how the fuck do those even stay in business? Who pays for their porn anymore?
They
I'm
also
dead
have those
fucking
rentable
serious.
booths.
But see, it's not necessarily porn so much as toys and
Oh, okay.
adjustment things that you
I
can get on.
was
But
gonna say, like, who the fuck buys porn anymore when it's all free on the internet?
I have no idea. But we're getting slightly off tangent.
Well, we are talking
loot
about
a cash
being
machine.
porn, so
Yeah.
Oh, here we are. I think this is one of the riots from Manchester, but Waterstones put a note in their window saying, "We'll stay open. If they steal some books, they might learn something."
Yes, yeah, that was one of the things that I saw.
Hold on, there's a really good sign that I saw. I have to find it from somebody that put something on there. This isn't with England, but it was it had to do with some kind of, they were sealing some kind of shit. I'll have to find it, but it's a really funny sign that someone posted at the front of their like business or something. Go ahead and find that.
What were we talking about? Sorry.
Here it
See,
is.
why don't you Americans have these sort of riots?
we do.
Because we're too passive.
It says,
We're all-
"Dear something thieves, while I appreciate your initiative and hard work, I'd like to suggest you not break our window. There is an H&R Block across the street, and I'm certain their computers are much newer and nicer than ours. I live in the neighborhood and would appreciate you not stealing from a local nonprofit that provides services to soldiers and veterans. Also, I will shoot you in the fucking face. Thanks, the management." And it's a demotivator, and it says, "A strong conclusion is the most important part of any paper."
Yeah, I know when we were talking about changing to this topic, one of the things that we said we do is sort of compare sort of these riots to some genuine actual race riots, because I know during the 80s and the sort of early and mid 80s, Tottenham and Notting Hill and some of those parts in London, they had some genuinely serious rioting due to the racial tensions that are around at the time. And I know it was, was it 90s? It was the shooting of someone in LA. Was it Rodney King or something?
Was this in the 80s?
In the 90s
Oh,
in
so the
LA.
90s.
There was-
The
there was
Los
some-
Angeles riots. It
Yeah,
was for beating up what's his face, Rodney King.
yeah, I got the name right. It was a beating, a shooting. But yeah, well, whilst rioting in any sense is nothing to be condoned, I can vaguely understand much more why you would do a riot if it was something like racial tensions, and you've got a more definite goal than what we've seen during the week when we had the rioting. And it just seemed to be, as we've said so far, this kind of mindless, I want to get hold of these things, other people haven't got them. I mean, an example of that was there was an audio interview on the BBC, and it was two 17-year-old girls, and they were doing it because it was a laugh, and they were drinking. It's 9:30 in the morning. They were drinking a bowl of free booze that they'd nicked from someone's shop because that person was rich, and they wanted to show them. And they were hoping it was going to happen again the next night, and they also wanted to show the police that they couldn't stop them, which is one of the things that is actually a bit of a problem now in parts of the country. Is you've got this attitude of you can't stop me, where people haven't got that sense of discipline.
I kind of want to come and join the rioters to see how many British cops it would take to stop me.
I join up with the cops.
I say this chap
you
is
step
a
out the way, I
brute.
can take down the Yank.
No, you fucking couldn't.
I say this chap is a brute. We might need to bring in 20 or 30 cops.
I just say, just chant the game at him and he'll cringe.
No, I'll just,
We might
no,
actually have
no,
to
if
load
you
our
do-
guns.
If you do that, then I'll just go like into.
You know, we
fucking
do have
incredible
armed
Hulk
police in
mode and
this
start
country.
killing people. You do know that your bullets cannot stop me.
Lewis
They do.
smash
They do.
same.
Anyway, we're
Well,
going
hang on a
off
minute.
topic.
I know for a fact that you need at least 60 centimetres of fat around you to stop a bullet. I suspect you might qualify on that basis, Lewis.
I'll fucking stab you, James.
From
I'll
across the
fucking-
Atlantic, I think not. Ah.
I will fucking fly to England and I'll find you. I'll get the information out of Womble somehow.
She doesn't know where I live.
I'm pretty sure she knows how to find you.
Right. What you need to do is drive south. When your feet get wet, stop and go back to dry land. That's as much as I can tell you. Anyway, back on track. So, as we said, the riots this week don't seem to have much in the way of a serious, as it were, reason. It's, aside from petty theft and mindless thuggery. But we know other riots and civil disorder hasn't been quite so unmotivated. And if you all can cast your mind back to earlier on in the year when in a number of the Arab nations they had problems, or not problems, they had civil uprisings, and it was civil uprisings to have regime change. I mean, I can't remember whether or not it showed anything about it on our news, which wouldn't have had it as covered quite so much as news in that area, and certainly correct me if you're wrong, but I don't recall that they actually attacked any of their shops. They were just massing in public and just there to protest en masse for a change in government.
Yeah.
Not rioting.
I mean, I was just looking up the Stonewall riots, which took place in the summer of 1969.
NYC.
And these... Sorry, Yosh?
Nothing, I just said NYC.
Okay. Yeah, which was... basically, it was a reaction by the lesbian, gay, bisexual and trans group after a police raid that took place in a famous gay bar, basically. I think it was called the Stonewall Club or the Stonewall Inn, I've just learned.
So that's why the riots are happening?
Well, that was why they happened in New York City, but that was I'm surprised to learn it was a spontaneous thing, basically.
England right now.
He did say 1950 something.
1969.
Oh, I didn't hear that, sorry. Why are the riots exactly in England happening? Or is it because they want Britain to be about British?
No,
no Islamic programs either.
It's because they want to.
It's effectively, it's a section of society that they don't.
So for shits and giggles.
Effectively, yeah. It's kind of like the anonymous approach to looting. They're doing it for the lulz.
Yeah.
Again, you've got to look at an individual level. You can't just say all of them are out there.
Oh no, I'm sure not all of them. There'll be some that aren't doing it for the lulz, some that are doing it.
The media always looks at the worst example.
Adam, have you already looted the bars?
Yeah, of course. That's not the point. But no, the media always looks at the worst examples. What we're seeing is probably about maybe 10-20% of the entire group. You can't say they're all out there just for the fun of it.
I wouldn't say that they all were, but at least from the impression I've got, it's more of them.
There are so many problems at the moment in these sort of areas like London, Manchester and Birmingham, with unemployment, with the lack of public spending, the lack of opportunity.
But
you can't simply ignore these things.
Was it every family that is in a situation of poverty that was rioting? The rioters, don't forget, when they were burning shops in a lot of these places in London, because it's incredibly built up, you've got a shop, a little corner shop, whatever, boutique, whatever you like, one story. The building's actually a 2 or 3 story, if not maybe 4 in some cases. Above those shops are people's homes. When they were burning and torching the shops, they were also burning and torching people's homes. There was a series of pictures of a woman that had to leap out of, I think it was a first floor building, which for any Americans listening, we start with ground floor then first. I think you start first, as in that's your ground floor. So it's first floor of a building. She had to leap to and get caught by the riot police.
It's the second story.
Yeah, your second story. The one up from the ground.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of footage shown on the BBC News of a woman that was crying. She'd woken up in the night to find a fire in her building, and she got out. I don't know whether or not she had kids or anything.
Well, this seems extreme.
If she said that if she waited, if it had been 10 minutes later before she realised that she needed to go out, she might not have gone out.
Well,
from a lot of people have lost their homes.
From a logical standpoint, this is kind of fucking counterproductive. I mean,
they're shitting in their homes.
I hear the riots. A big part of the riots is because young people can't get jobs because the job market is shitty. So the solution is to burn down businesses which make jobs. British people are fucking smart.
Think about it this way. There's a reason they would be shitting on their own doorsteps for some reason. If they had opportunity, if they had something to aim for in life, would you really think that they'd do something like this? There has to be a reason behind why they're being so mindless and thuggish. They can't.
I mean, I know for
just,
some of them, you're right. It's
there's
for
always
whatever
a
reason
reason
they're not
behind
thinking
it.
beyond their own needs straight off. I know.
Well, guys,
I
I
know.
gotta go to work. So
Oh,
Bye,
see
bye,
ya.
goodbye,
Yosh.
Yoshimo One.
See you
see
later.
ya.
Miss you.
I think,
Bring me back a Baconator. No, god damn it, he already left.
but I think for a lot of these people, though, they don't see it as counterproductive because I think they see themselves in a position that they're never going to be in a position with a job. They're never going to get on the social ladder. So they've nothing to lose in torching buildings, and they stand
But
to
isn't it
gain.
like people from all kinds of backgrounds doing this shit? So it's not
Yeah,
like
there was a teaching assistant whose
Yeah, so it's
career
not
is
like it's-
buggered.
it's not like it's just
Ow.
a bunch of bums or like people with no education.
Yeah.
There was
like-
someone that was signed up to join the army. There were students.
I mean, everybody will have their own personal motivations.
But admittedly, there will be some that have got that will have got swept up in it. They're kind of more of the sheep in whatever respect that they are.
And they think,
they'll
hey,
have-
I can get myself
yeah.
a plasma TV and so
Yeah,
on.
they won't think long term. They just think that they can get a plasma TV, which I can understand if there's something that you've always aspired to owning, but in your current circumstances, you won't be able to own. You might not be able to see how you could get out of that. But you'll also have people that will have been doing the leading and making use of these riots to get what they want.
I see. Silly British people.
I mean, one thing that's kind of a question that's occurred to me based upon the sort of the pattern that they seem to be falling into, especially with the last ones being in the 80s, is that does it seem to be that rioting is nearly always associated with a right-wing government, at least in this country? Because the last great riots were things like the miners' strike and so on.
I
which was
wouldn't-
thanks to
I
wouldn't
but
say
in
that.
terms of government, that's not a point you can make because Conservatives have been in this country for a little over a year. So a lot of these people that have been rioting have grown up, or the younger ones have grown up predominantly under Labour's watch. Others will have, even if they haven't grown up under Labour's watch, we've had, was it 13 years of Labour government? And let's bear in mind when people are saying about making the cuts, there was a note that Gordon Brown left for David Cameron when he took over, and it was, ha ha, I hope you have the best. There's nothing left. They bankrupted the country. There's a reason why the government's having to make cuts. Okay, it's a fairly kind of Tory thing that they'll make cuts and try and sort of lower taxes or raise taxes or whatever. But we don't have the money as a country.
Mm. But I'm just
And
thinking that
That brings me to something. Russell Brand, of all people, said something. I think it was yesterday in an article. He said, "We're all showing outrage at these rioters who are stealing for self-gain. What about the bankers who have robbed this country dry for self-gain? Where's the outrage at them?"
I know.
I mean,
think
what's worse? What's worse, robbing curries for a computer or robbing the country of money?
I know. The banks
the
got
country.
into a position where they had bailouts from taxpayers.
Yeah.
Which
yeah,
is
I
rough.
mean,
The bank I bank with, it was one of the banks that didn't have a taxpayer bailout.
I think instead of here in America, for example, instead of what's the word, the bailing out the banks, I think we should have just bailed out the people. Fuck the banks.
yeah, I mean, it is a symptom of the media and the upper class hold on the media that we are made to look down upon people who steal from a shop or whatever it might be.
I think Pat Condell made a good point. He made a video about the riots, and surprisingly, he didn't blame the Muslims. He made a good point that these people are there bitching about like how they don't have money and shit, but they're communicating via BlackBerry. So it's
hell yeah!
It's extremely ironic that they're
Yeah.
having smartphones, which are not only expensive in themselves, but you got to pay for all the monthly services.
Well, I was going to say, even if you were to, even if you look at smartphones have actually been around for a while. If you're lucky and you shop around, you could get a second-hand smartphone on a pay and go phone thing quite cheaply if you know where you're looking for and you're not bothered about having a second-hand phone, because there are people that would go for
It's
a
even
second-hand
cheaper
phone.
if you loot one.
Yeah, although not if you loot an Apple one.
Well, yeah. I don't know if you were there for that bit, Lewis, but
Lewis missed that.
Apple have said that they are going to contact all the stores that were raided in the past week and find out from them which items were missing so that they can then
Kill them.
block them or, basically kill them remotely so that people won't be able to use them.
To get onto the networks and stuff.
Yeah, I thought that was rather good.
Which I think that's quite good. I mean, to be honest, what has actually really, really impressed me over the whole scenario is, I mean, I know it took us a few days to get the police out and get them in enough numbers to start being effective in dealing with the problems. But it's been, from my point of view, it's been the response of the communities who absolutely do not want this. I'm talking about, in particular, the riot cleanups that have been on the news.
I think you guys should just hire the LAPD.
No, I know there was a lot of call for people, for the police a lot of people saying things along the lines of, "Dear police, please be as brutal and heavy-handed as you like." The call of getting in the army and water cannons and the like.
You guys should hire the guys who took care of Rodney King. Those guys know how to fucking kick some ass.
But here's an interesting.
Before I get called racist.
Here's something. Just sort of thinking at it, when there's a riot situation, I'm being meowed at by a cat that wants attention. We have the Riot Act, and there's the phrase that goes on with reading the Riot Act. If you really have a bollocking off your boss, you might refer to the fact that you've had the Riot Act read to you. And what happens when the police are reading the Riot Act is that, I don't know how they do it, but they read out the Riot Act, and if you are still acting like a complete tit after you've had the Riot Act read to you, then when you get arrested...
There's actually something called the Riot Act?
Yes. It's
oh, shit. Okay. I did not know that.
A legal act. If you have it read to you and you're still acting like a tosser and you get arrested, you could be in for quite a hefty prison sentence.
I'll just see if I can find out what it says.
Well, the Riot Act. I mean, I know some people were commenting on the thing of, with the fact that CCTV in this country has been used to help with the identification of the looters. People have said about the fact that it'll be used as justification to expand CCTV coverage, which, to be honest, I mean, I know people are saying this in an alarmist way. So long as your government's actually generally reasonable, I know there are some extreme regimes out there that aren't too nice. At least in the UK, there is certain bits of legislation that will protect you from intrusion from CCTV systems. And I'm talking about things like data protection and the Human Rights Act. So the Human Rights Act says that if someone's operating a CCTV system, they don't have the right to view you and watch you unless they've got justification to think that what you're going to do is going to impinge on someone else's human rights. So whether or not you're about to go robbing, you're about to think about trying to do a crime or some sort of terrorist thing. And it's, the CCTV operators might start watching you if they're curious or stroke suspicious, if there's justification for some suspicion. But as soon as they get to the point and realise that actually that person's not doing anything wrong, stop watching them.
Can I just say, first of all, the Riot Act, as it's known, has since been repealed. It was originally made in 1714. But it said, the original wording was, "Our sovereign lord the king chargeth and commandeth all persons being assembled immediately to disperse themselves and peaceably to depart to their habitations or to their lawful business upon the pains contained in the act made in the first year of King George for preventing tumults and riotous assemblies. God save the king." And basically it was that anybody who stayed in that group and continued rioting was guilty of it says here, was guilty of a felony without benefit of clergy, punishable by death.
Cool.
Yeah. Back in those days, we still had some fairly, all this kind of hanging in that.
Well, leave it to religion to poison everything, especially when you have people who think they are ordained by God to be monarchs.
Yes, that is true.
How dare you question God's authority and mine?
They have.
So when is Northfire going to throw their name into the elections to stop all the rioting?
I think the rioting stopped.
Yeah, I believe
God
it's
damn
all. I believe it's all now gone quiet again.
So we can now wait for all those T-shirts that say my parents went on holiday to London, Liverpool, or whatever, and all they got from the riots was this T-shirt kind of thing. Because you know they're going to come out. The sense of humour that we have over here in the UK.
I want Northfire. I want to see Northfire actually become a party. That'd be funny to me. Does anyone get the V for Vendetta reference?
No.
Nope, I haven't seen it.
No.
It's kind of a film I'm overly fond of. I've seen it once.
How have you not seen it? That's like one of the few movies based in Britain that's not a zombie movie.
Well, I'm sorry.
There are quite a lot of movies based in Britain that aren't zombie movies.
Well, not American-made ones.
American-made movies suck, and so does America.
Fuck
You know what, Blue?
drunkie.
You need another beer.
Yeah, I'll go get one.
Blue's starting to sober up.
I've just looked up the new legislation on the subject. It isn't anywhere nearly as dramatic. The only thing it says, by way of a punishment, a person guilty of riot is liable on conviction on indictment to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 10 years or a fine or both. We've come a long way since the death sentence.
I think America has more reason to riot. Why the fuck haven't we rioted yet? Like, seriously. Our economy's
because you just take
shit.
it. You fucking take it.
I know. I actually agree with Blue. I mean, we've definitely just become extremely, like, passive, like, in this country. Like, back in the 60s and shit with all the hippies, like, Vietnam's bad, buh, buh, buh. Like, right now we have much more, like, a lot more legitimate reasons to complain and bitch about besides being hippies. I mean, our economy's in this shit. We have a president who doesn't do jack shit. He concedes that
because
everything
half
the
your
Republicans
population just believes that it's all a sign of the rapture and it's bound to happen.
Yeah, that's true. We need to get rid of the religious people. Would
Actually,
you guys mind taking
there's a very good thought. It's one that's been mentioned before up on YouTube. Now, if, say, the likes of the riots in the UK are a sign of the end times, why are the Christians not doing more to encourage it? Because they want to be raptured and all this stuff.
I don't think we should be saying things like that, Womble, or they might actually listen.
I'd like a couple Christians to try to do something to me.
But it's like
self-defense.
There are videos of interviews of Americans working in munitions factories making nuclear weapons, and the interviewer asks them, "Aren't you worried that you're doing a job which is in violation of the, I can't remember which commandment, is it the 7th, thou shalt not kill?" And they basically said, we think that what we're doing is good because it's helping to bring about the end times. We're trying to usher in Armageddon, which is
that's
really worrying.
Twisted mindset. We want to end the world.
Very worrying. It's kind of it's kind of like if they started writing like passages on the nukes, like what they did on those ACOG sites. They wrote they wrote some kind of passage on the ACOG sites for the assault rifles that the American soldiers use, and everyone got all pissy and shit, and it was kind of funny.
Well, to be fair, they were the American army was trying to say, look, we're not doing this because your religion. Look, we really are. Fucking hell, this company that's making this shit for us is not fucking helping.
It brings Lewis. I need to send you a link to this, but like there's this guy.
Is it naked? Is a picture of a naked lady?
No.
Nearly. It's
Not
close.
interested.
Picture of a pint of beer.
A picture of a pint of beer. All
Cool,
wet,
condensation.
condensated.
There's this religious guy in the UK called Wilson, and he's basically there's this Muslim guy who's the uncle to one of these kids who died, and the guy said because he didn't have like a sort of vengeful tone when he sort of replied to the rioters, and he wasn't really sort of like vengeful, that he was like the sort of shining example, and that the reason for that was because he was religious. And that atheists can't not be vengeful in those sort of situations.
Well, I'd be a bad example of that because I would probably probably have to strangle someone to death if they killed anything in my family. So
that's just you, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Well, he
yeah,
basically
because
said,
I'm fucking violent and borderline
ex-Christian
sociopath.
ways.
he basically said atheists can't be sort of non-vengeful, if you get what I mean.
Well, I say we prove
Yeah,
it.
because we and with the dirty non-believers that we are, we don't have any sense of morality or anything like that.
That's
We're all out for
the article is
nihilistic
basically
approach.
about that. The article is basically
Is this
saying,
the Daily Mail one?
yeah, the religious people basically have this sort of inherited moral code written within them.
Well,
and the
what's
last
wrong with
sentence,
vengeance?
the last sentence basically says atheists are less than human.
Oh, fuck you.
Don't fuck me, fuck him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't mean you.
Let's not fuck anyone just at the moment. Thank you very
But
much.
seriously though, what's wrong with revenge? I'm sorry. What's wrong with revenge?
Apparently, a lot according to this guy.
I seriously fail to I fail to see why revenge is bad. Like
Because
seriously.
at the end of the day, two wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah, but 3 rights make a left, so whatever.
Oh, bloody American fucking shit, fucking concepts and shit.
Stiff upper lip, tally ho, what, Turtle Pipsky?
God damn it! Why am
But,
I
I mean,
surrounded by
So, I
British-
mean, sort of this thing of what Christian people, or some Christian people, I would correct, because not all Christians are lunatics in terms of, like, thinking that the world's only 6,000 years old and baying for the end times to come. But, this one that, if our YouTube members of the audience will have probably encountered before, Gorilla199. He said, if you notice, the news showed people out on the streets with brooms. The brooms are green. Don't pagan witches use brooms symbolically? Yes, they do. This is on his channel
What
comments.
the fuck?
I refuse to accept that Gorilla199
Well, what the
genuine.
fuck are they supposed to use? Fucking
I know.
mops?
No, it's just like, they've gone to sweep up they also the best hashtag ever. Although
Sponges
I'm not
soaked in
quiet
warm
that they
water.
didn't check with me first.
Oh Jesus, it's starting
Okay
to
to use
hurt.
my name, but
Somebody
it was a hashtag Riot Wombles. And
No, I
it was just
refuse to accept that that man is sincere. I don't care. Nobody can be that stupid.
He is that stupid.
No, he's not. I don't care. I refuse to listen to anything you say. He's not that stupid.
But it's just you've gone there to sweep up glass and stuff, and it was a case of it was all self-organised, all through Twitter. This notion of just going there with a broom, some black bin bags, some rubber gloves, and just cleaning up. And this whole thing is spiraled into they've helped clean up shops. They're trying to do things to help get stuff for the families that have suffered the riots. And it's it kind of nicely brings into the point that apparently one of the evils of modern society that has helped to contribute to the riots is Twitter and social networking.
Which, as we saw in the case of the would-be Plymouth rioting, has actually been their undoing. But
Yeah, I mean, I know on the first night there were some Facebook groups going up to do with starting riots elsewhere, and they were soon coming down quickly because they were getting tweeted about. This news reporting, but I mean, let's face it, how long has rioting and civil disorder been taking place? Not like continuously, but how long has it's been something?
Since the year dot.
Effectively.
A few years.
Yeah. Twitter was not around in the Middle Ages for the Middle Age rioters to organise their rioting.
Think about it this way.
Twitter's the medium that the riot clean-up things have started through.
Imagine Twitter and Facebook are just a way to contact people on a further distance.
Yeah.
Where do you draw the line at distance? Are you going to stop people actually talking to each other at all?
Yeah.
I mean, basically, Twitter's just talking to people from a further distance. Where do you draw the line?
Exactly.
I mean,
a mile away, 2 meters away, a centimetre away?
You can't stop public unrest, and nor do I think should you. Because
I think people should have the right to, in a peaceful way, show that they are publicly unhappy with something. Whatever it is, peaceful protest, that's fine. Chanting, placards, whatever they want to do, so long as it's peaceful. I don't care really what they're protesting about. They could be protesting about the most ridiculous thing ever, but if they're peaceful, they've got a right to do it.
As long as they aren't intruding on other people's rights.
Exactly. But when you get to rioting, burning out people's cars, They're burning up homes, smashing businesses. There was a Reeves. I can't remember the full name of the shop, but it was owned by this family Reeves. It was a furniture company, and it was a case of they burnt the shop down, and that's family that's been in the family for about 5 generations, 6 if you include all the little kids, and it was owned by a dad, and it was run by 2 brothers, and I don't know, maybe 15 to 20 people or something that they employed. So with that shop being burnt down, it's how many families now without an income? That's not on. For whatever reason they're rioting, that's not fair.
Jesus. I'm currently in the process of trying to watch Venom Fang X's video about the rioting.
Venom Fang X has done a video.
What's he said about it?
It's titled Pat Condell Causes Riots in Britain.
What the fuck?
I don't understand what the fuck he's saying. The highest rated comment, which is funny, is from Chadia Spike 2. He says, "Had I not known who you are, Venom Fang X, I would have assumed that you were an atheist making fun of Christians with this video." I guess that's how fucking out of whack it is. I'm only
I fucking love
Chadia
Chadia Spike.
I am completely lost as to what the fuck he is trying to say. I am absolutely lost. He's saying something about fucking soda cans and a bunch of other bullshit. I'm like, what the fuck is this talking about?
Is that just like a sort of way to get more views on his video, just to have a sort of out there title?
Well, he does have clips of Pat Condell from Pat Condell's video about the riots or whatever, but I don't understand how he's saying that Pat Condell or people like Pat Condell caused the riot in England. I really don't understand what the fuck he's trying to say. I am immensely confused. I have no idea what's happening.
That's basically how all Venom Fang X's videos run now. But nobody can decipher what he's trying to
It's
say.
funny because he's kind of like... I'm sorry, I won't talk about this because it's getting too out of topic. So it just seems to me, though, that quickly that Venom Fang X has just become irrelevant.
Mm.
I think he knows it too.
To think how much silicon costs to produce, you think there will be somebody trying to keep that kind of crap off the internet.
What crap?
Venom Fang X's videos. You'd think there'd be some kind of internet police and say, no, that is not worth the server space. Take it down.
I haven't actually watched any. We're getting off topic, aren't we?
We are
a little bit.
But we're still vaguely on topic.
I was about to go completely off topic, which is why I stopped myself.
Oh, I do think we have a caller that Colin's just about trying to bring in for us. But we're still waiting for them to be added to the call at the moment. I think we might have them coming in now. What was your off-topic thing? Oh no, I think we have. Hello.
Hello.
Do we have cricket? We have cricket. Hello, cricket. You had a
Yes,
question for us, or a comment at least, or something.
All right, the question I guess I would ask is, and this goes back to what we were discussing earlier, would you say that white-collar crime justifies looting?
What do you mean by white-collar crime?
Well, earlier on in the discussion, someone had said that, well, everyone pays attention to all of these people who are stealing something out of a store, but no one's paying attention to, let's say, all of these bankers who are bankrupting the country.
Yeah.
As though that was some sort of justification for, okay, it's all right for me to be a looter because they did this.
I mean, I personally, I don't think that using something that someone else has done wrong is fair to justify your wrongdoing, even if it was a wrong against you, if that makes sense. I mean, I don't know about anyone else in the panel.
No, I certainly don't think that it's a valid excuse. It does, however, annoy me that the media, being in the control of the upper classes, draws so much attention to riots of this kind and benefit cheats and so on, who cost at least individually cost the state very, very little, and yet somehow there isn't any kind of justice or comeuppance for the bankers who are gambling on the failure of our economy.
Well, what I would say about that is the reason why that's probably the case is rioters are much more visible. You know, if, someone who's waving their arms, doing all these crazy things is much more visible than someone who is committing, let's say, credit card fraud.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, although it doesn't need to be that way. I mean, obviously, if it is something that is very loud and ostentatious, like a riot, and it's going to get all over the news, and we're going to see the damage that it's doing to individual people, then we're much more likely to react to that. But I don't see any real reason why bankers who are cheating the country out of billions shouldn't have their name put on the front pages of every newspaper and shouldn't be top story news.
Well, I can't quite off the top of my head remember the name. I think was it Nick or James or something. But the guy that brought down the Bearing Bank, one of Britain's oldest banks, it was a rogue trader. That was the name of the film that was done about him. And he gambled with money that he didn't have. He made a few bad deals, dug a massive hole for himself, and he basically fucked up in an epic proportion. And the bank ended up having to close or something, and that went all over the newspapers. That went public in a massive way.
I've just looked up his name. It's Nick Leeson, I believe.
Yeah, it was it. Yeah, I said it was. I knew the name, but I just couldn't quite click it into place. But there's an example of someone that's done some white-collar crime, but has actually been brought to account for it, and it's just a case of whether or not they're actually doing that with all the people that do this sort of thing.
It also amazes me. I've just learned that after leaving prison, he's become the CEO of an Irish football club. It horrifies me that people are just allowed to continue in these circles, in spite of the fact that, yeah, as you say, he basically single-handedly caused the downfall of Barings Bank.
I mean,
if this were, if we find out the name of a serial benefit cheater in the news, we're horrified by them, and you see people going off on one saying they should be hanged and all the rest of it. But
doesn't it cost more to chase down a benefit cheat, though? I mean, not that I'm saying that we should let them get away with it. We've got definite proof, but with the amount of man hours that go into investigating,
it is a flaw, and I think it's part of the clunkiness of our social services. But yes, I believe you are right in saying that it costs more to track down a benefit cheat than they get through in something like 10 years. That's not necessarily an unavoidable problem. But,
so we've not heard from Blue, Bear or Lef on cricket's question. So have any of you three got anything?
Sorry, I had to go downstairs quickly to see something from my dad. What was the question?
It was cricket asked whether or not white-collar crime justifies
looting.
The response of rioting and the like. I think that was...
No, it was specifically looting, because rioting, in a lot of, at least to me, is a response in anger, whereas looting is just theft, pretty much.
Yeah. So protest plus is rioting, and just the looting. So, Lef, your thoughts?
Well, I don't think white collar crimes are a justification for it. I mean, because then you're stealing. You're a criminal also. I mean, if you want to get something done, bitch to the government about it, riot all you want, but don't go and steal shit. Then you're no better than them.
I mean, I can kind of understand if you are somebody who is on a very low income or possibly on no income at all, you don't perhaps know where your next meal is going to come from and all the rest of it, then it can seem a little bit galling if people in high places are stealing from the government, which is not only putting up your national insurance and whatever, but they're also living the high life of it, and they don't seem to get punished for it. I can understand how in some people's minds that would be a justification for committing crime for personal gain. It doesn't seem fair that they should get away with it, whereas you can't.
Well, I would say that in and of itself is a different question, because there have been incidents in the United States. You can hear me, all right, where someone robbed a bank with the intention of being arrested so that they could receive medical care in prison.
Yeah, I mean, there are for some people, it is a much better life living in prison because you get fed 3 times a day and you don't have to worry about rent or anything like that. There are certainly a lot of homeless
You get
people
3
who...
hots and a cot.
Yeah, there was a story about a person in the United States who robbed a bank of $1, so he
Yeah,
go to
that's
jail
what I
and
was-
I
yeah,
thought it was a convenience store. Was it a bank?
No, it's a bank.
Oh, okay.
yeah. That way you
But-
go to federal prison.
But the flip side of that is if you're worried about where your next meal is coming from, you wouldn't steal a giant plastic swordfish or a guitar.
The
Depends,
swordfish,
maybe you
I
can
don't
use the
know what
guitar
fuck
to make
that's-
money.
The swordfish, I don't know what that's for. I guess
No,
they just really wanted a swordfish.
That, yeah, I can't see that has any real value to anybody.
Some of those Photoshop pictures, though, I thought were quite entertaining. There was a few where they'd photoshopped the police batons to make them look like lightsabers, which I loved.
I just thought it was funny that, I mean, just the thought of a fucking guy going for a plastic swordfish. He's like, he comes back like, oh, dude, I was at the riots. I did some looting, and their friends are like, are you fucking serious? What did you get? A swordfish? Like, really? You didn't get like a fucking plasma TV or something? No, I got a swordfish, plastic one too.
Right, next time I'm going.
Exactly. Next time I'll do the looting.
Where are we going to hide this thing?
Where the fuck is...
Some
Now we
of
gotta
the
pay to get
pictures
it
that I
mounted.
found quite entertaining. It's the ones that have it's the ones that have shown them going away with stuff, and it's been photoshopped to either be Barbie or Justin Bieber.
Oh,
Who would
Jesus.
steal him?
I
Yeah,
don't know. You
kittens
tell
riding.
me, James.
I just-
Who would steal Justin Bieber? Bleh.
Justin Bieber.
Ah, fuck you. I had a slip of the tongue.
No, just
There
an
was-
interesting image. These get better and better, actually. These Photoshop ones.
There was
so-
a good picture as well. I've got the original, well, one that's had a bit of photoshopping done in front of me, but there's one where someone's carrying 3 Pioneer boxes to do with videos or whatever it is, and whoever's photoshopped them has photoshopped them so that they say, teach yourself basic literacy, teach yourself basic numeracy, teach yourself social responsibility.
Oh my god, look, the gay Teletubby is stealing shit.
He's not gay.
No.
I know he's not. I'm making
really
fun of-
stealing. He's not really stealing stuff. Look at what he's trying to do.
Yeah, I think it's much worse than that. I want to know what Poe's
It's
up to.
backside neutery.
Oh, he's trying to rape someone.
I want to know what Poe's up to, the red one. He's in a rather strange position if he's going what I
Wait,
think
the
he's
red
going.
one. The red one is a guy.
No, well, oh no, I get
They're,
confused by this.
they're very asexual, but Tinky Winky is supposed to be the homosexual, asexual one.
I think Poe is a girl, but it's played by a man. No, hang on a minute. No, Poe was played by a woman and is a woman. Or a female.
I like the guys playing Twister.
Okay, so I
Only
think we've got
50%.
I think we've got someone else that's coming in at the call
That's not true, Bear. I think we're only like
in a moment for a
Only like
question or a point.
40%
So I'd like to
gay.
thank Cricket for joining us for a moment.
Yes, thank you, Cricket.
And I think it's Rise we've got now, or Reese, to really
Rise.
make you go grrr. I know, but we can call him Reese.
We'll call him whatever we like.
even.
It's our show.
But he's a dirty Hollander. So we're just waiting for him
And
to...
before Colin closes everything, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Dirty Hollanders, fuck your broadcast."
Hey, at least they're not playing any games, are they? Have we got? We're still waiting for Rise. Just while we're waiting for Rise, or have we got him in now?
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
Greetings, villains.
Hello.
Hey, Rise.
How are you all?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I don't know what you guys already covered with the riots, but I wanted to ask because someone in the room brought it up, that it is not uncommon for a legitimate complaint to be hijacked, and then the riot starts, and it's basically, well, let's just fuck shit up.
I do think that is actually a genuine problem if you have legitimate protests. I know, from what I understand, the Duggan family have been, they're already traumatized. Rights of wrong, whatever he was doing, irrespective of that, they've just lost their son, brother, nephew, cousin, whatever it is, and on top of that, they've got the fact that a peaceful protest about his shooting was hijacked for a riot, and I would think there's been at least 4 or 5 deaths following the rioting. Last I heard, the death count was up to 5, so I'm pretty certain that there is a section of the country that will be on the lookout for any excuse to take advantage of something that's going on to their ends. I mean, I don't know what the rest of the panel think.
I think they've also already distanced themselves from the riots. They've basically said, stop it.
I know the MP for Tottenham area. He said on the morning after the first rioting that it was an attack on the community with what they had done, because they destroyed homes, they destroyed businesses. So there were some people that didn't have a job, some people that didn't have somewhere to live because of the behaviour of the people.
I know a couple of people in London, and basically they shacked up in their homes.
I've got friends that live in
One
London.
of my friends just got a load of groceries, moved back in with his parents, and they were like, okay, we're going to sit here and wait until the shit is over.
I've got a friend who's because I do LARP, which is live role play, which is a bit like battle reenactment, and I think they might do some battle reenactment. But he went to bed with something more than a foam and latex sword. And also, I got another friend who was from where he was living, because he was in a flat, and there was a dip between him and Croydon. He got to see Croydon burn, and he had a very anxious time. And I think one of my uncles was also living in the London area, and he said because the rioting happened very close to him, he had a very restless night, listening to all the sirens and everything, and you could smell the burning apparently.
Since you're English, I would like to ask you another question.
Okay.
Why do you think this thing spread? I mean, there was an issue in London. Okay, I can deal with that. But why did it spread to all the other big cities?
I've been wondering this myself.
That with an example of 2 girls that was I think to an extent it was copycat. It was the section of the community that feels that because the way things have gone, it's that if you don't get so much telling off. I know that in schools it's a problem that the teachers don't have effective punishments that a number of the kids respect. And it's like, oh, you're not going to do this for me. Okay, fine, I'll give you a detention. The kid's like, yeah, right, make me go. The kid doesn't go to the teacher's detention. So the teacher would forward it up to the next person. The kid then doesn't go to that detention. The kid can then be sent for detention with senior teachers, so like head teachers and that. And they don't go. Or they get the parents to call in and say, you can't give my child this detention. So you've got that mentality in some aspects of the community.
Womble, quick interruption.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same as when what's that annoying cook again?
There's Gordon Ramsay, there's Jamie Oliver.
When he wanted to introduce healthy food, and they were like, well, you don't get to tell my kid what to eat.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. And for that section of people, it's a chance to show that they can do stuff and not get punished for it. There was a clip on BBC, as I said earlier on in the show, there was a clip on BBC Radio, which was an audio interview of 2 17-year-old girls, and that's basically what they said at the end of the day. They were writing to show the police that they could do it, and the police couldn't stop them.
Yeah, I mean, the government referred to the spreading riots in places like, I think it was Bristol and Manchester and Nottingham.
And Liverpool.
Oh, yeah, Liverpool.
They referred to them as copycat riots or copycat looting. And I suppose it could just be that simple, that the reason why people were doing it in these other cities is that they simply realised that they could probably get away with it because not everybody in London was getting caught, and they knew that they could steal some stuff themselves. What I'm really interested in is how it spread, whether it did all escalate through social networking sites.
Social media.
So did all the people from New Orleans like go to London or England or whatever? Like, is that why all the looting's happening? Like, what the fuck?
Well, it's actually dying down. One of my friends had to have a medical procedure in London, and he got along just fine. It's kind of dying down right now, but when it really hit the fan, and I would like to hear everyone's opinion on this. This is a little bit political, but David Cameron now wants 16,000 more police officers. But I thought, just roll in the army. The water cannons, the CS gas.
Wait, you guys haven't done that yet? In America, we would have done that shit by day 2.
Well, you've got the National Guard, which we don't have the equivalent of.
Well,
I'm not an
American. You guys need
American.
to start doing that shit.
Yeah, but I was going to say, if I was actually having a discussion with Falchion 49 because I think it was just more kind of a reaction on my part from the fact that the police were at the time outnumbered by the looters, and they weren't able to be as effective as they were when obviously they had the numbers. And I was thinking, yeah, let's hello. So I was thinking for a while, put the military in when the police weren't there in such numbers. But obviously, when the police numbers were up, so they could actually deal with it. And what it is to get the military in, we've got to be at the point where it's properly, seriously organised. It's not just people taking advantage of social networking to communicate for the opportunity
come
of
on,
it.
that social
Let me finish. No. There were people that were using the BlackBerry messaging system. I'm not saying that social networking is to fault. I'm saying is they were taking advantage of a communication tool.
No,
they weren't
I am actually...
Can you let me finish? What I'm saying there about the army is that they would need to be organised properly, not just being opportunistic and using things to help them communicate to each other, but seriously organised and armed. So you're basically looking at an uprising. An insurgent writing. Only then could we get the military in, because the army, and particularly if they're using the other military to support them, they would be dealing with it in a completely different way to the police.
No, I am completely agreeing with you. I don't like the idea of bringing in the army because I think you need a scalpel and not the broadsword.
I kind of like the broadsword, but that's because I'm from Texas. So.
Well, that's because you're an American.
Exactly.
But I've already seen the videos coming out that this is, quote unquote, the British Spring. No, it's not.
No,
this is just
no.
a couple of assholes looting.
Exactly. It's not everyone in the community, and I think some of the news stuff I was saying is that from when they were interviewing the community members, it was people coming in from outside of their community as well. So it was a combination of their own local disaffected views or whatever.
I have to ask you this. Have you seen that video about the guy getting robbed that they
mugging
picked
one
his backpack?
Yeah, we haven't actually mentioned that yet. So thank you for reminding us that. Well, we're talking about the video where there's the young lad. He's actually a Malaysian student that's only been in the country for a month, and he's injured, and it's later revealed it's a broken jaw, and it looks like some people are helping him up. Then along comes someone else, and they take stuff out of his rucksack.
Oh yes, I remember this now.
And I know there was a massive national outcry on the news.
One white guy, just because I am going to bring the B&P into this.
Yes, there was a video that I saw earlier.
One white guy helps him up, and it's like, oh yeah, all comforting and helpful. Are you okay? Okay. Then a black guy walks up, opens up his rucksack, and takes everything out of it that's in there.
I think the guy that did the lead on the taking out of the bag, if I'm not wrong, was actually a white guy. But to answer Left's question of what the BNP is, it's a British National Party, and it's taken over from something that was called the National Front, and it's basically our native resident white supremacist group. And there was a video that I watched, I think it was yesterday, showing some very well-educated chap saying about how he predicted that actually there would be black rioting, and this is what was going on in the country. It was black rioting, and people would soon realise that the BNP were right and would soon be eating humble pie sort of thing. And it was on the 7th that the video was posted onto YouTube.
Are you referring to the Marmite Man 4 video?
Yes.
Where it was black riots.
Yes, and he was going, yes, and the BNP were right, and you will be shown how wrong. And he said that he wanted them to go looting into the home of the most liberal politicians first. And I just thought that's not nice. You're inciting the notion of violence against someone. I mean, I'm not particularly left-wing or liberal in that kind of respect.
Who's the ugly dude on the picture right now on the blog TV?
That's old wonky-eyed Nick Griffin, head of the
BNP.
So what's the BNP exactly?
The British Nationalist Party. They're basically a far right-wing
the
party.
BNP is, if you're an American,
KKK,
the BNP is basically your far right-wing teabaggers, like Wild Bill for America.
Oh, fuck those assholes. But yeah, Colin keeps telling us that Badger is ready to get in the call.
Yeah. Badger, I spoke to him about him sort of coming on as being a guest that would be a bit more clued up for talking about this sort of thing. And I told him the time that he needed to be here, and he's now...
I'm kind of interested. I mean, I'm not... I like Badger, but I'm just wondering, like, how much does he know about this stuff? I mean, he's from D.C., right? I
think he also does good commentary on talking about people. And
Badger is, I think, from New York, but actually, his comments would be very interesting because they've also had riots in New York.
Yeah.
Can we just welcome Stealth Badger to the show properly?
Yes.
Hello,
Stealth Badger, you may be a little late.
I am.
Honey Badger doesn't give a shit.
Welcome to the show. Just quickly while we're introducing Badger, we are, and Colin knows this, and as to the rest of the team, that I have actually been speaking to someone that's been helping organise some of the sort of recovery aspects, and we are hoping that they're going to join us at some point soon and sort of give us some comments live. We organised this a bit late, so they've got some plans this evening that they couldn't rearrange. So we're hoping that they can join us for a brief while in a while, but until then we're just sort of going to continue with the show.
Yeah. Right, if I may come back to the question that you asked for our opinions on. You basically asked why was the army not brought in to help deal with the riots?
No, I didn't ask why the army wasn't brought in. I just thought it was a fair option.
Yeah, well, this is what I have to say in response to that is that it really shouldn't be necessary. I mean, a lot of this has kind of been brought up in Parliament now as a result of this, but it's thought that a lot of the motivation behind these riots was simply the fact that police are in a legal position now whereby they can't do an awful lot to enforce the law on the spot, and also sentencing is a lot more lenient now than it used to be. And so there are questions in Parliament as to whether police should be given back some of their rights in order to actually arrest people there on the spot and to, use physical means more often.
Yeah, I know there's a point. Say if I can just chip in quickly with a point. I mean, something referred to them as the police force, but they've actually, for a number of years now, and I will cite hot fuzz were going on about the guidelines and that, but they have actually been referred to as the police service. They are officially now known as the police service.
And not a force,
so the whole idea of force, where, not that I'm saying that the police should be going around beating everyone up for looking at them wrong, but they should not be in fear of being able to enforce the law if they need to, using means appropriate to the situation. So if they are seeing someone that's, instigating a riot, and it's a case of crack open the pepper spray to get those people under control because they're about to start lobbing Molotov cocktails at people. Go for it. That's appropriate to what's happening. But it's this moving away from education, allowing the police to do things as and then.
To Sound of Silence. What I thought was, clearly the police is overpowered. There is too much going on for them to deal with, just in the terms of manpower. Why not employ the army to do this? I know it's a rough solution, and we can deal with that one later. But what have you got right now? David Cameron wants 16,000 more police officers.
He doesn't want them, he's got them.
It was a case of 16,000 more police officers available on one
Stationed
of the nights.
around the city, yes.
I mean,
he got them.
Right,
if I can... quick interjection, Womble.
I was going to say that
I've actually asked a friend of mine who is a copper in England, and to ask me what his opinions on the entire thing is. And, well, I'm not British, so I can't really go into that or the details.
Right.
Okay.
Right, I'm going to have to cut you off there, and it's not out of rudeness. We have got Tamsin available. I've just added her into the call, and this is the woman that's been organising the Riot Rescue. So she's going to hopefully tell us a little bit about what she's been doing and everything. So if I think, because you've been in the call now for a little while, Reese, I'd like to thank you for being in the call.
I would like to...
Hang on, Reese. Reese, I'd like to thank you for being in the call, and it's over to speaking to Tamsin, who's been at the theatre, I think.
I would like to thank you very much for having me, and you guys have fun. I'm going to listen in.
Reese, thank you very much. I'd like to speak to Tamsin now. Thank you, Reese. Okay, sorry about that. So we've got Tamsin, who's been organising the Riot Rescue efforts. Hello, can you hear me, Tamsin? She's
Hello.
Out and about.
She's on the call, so
she is.
She just dropped out of the call.
Nope, she's
still
there.
That was Reese.
There she goes.
We have some connection issues, it seems. I think she's using her iPad.
Does everyone in England just have the shittiest internet on the planet?
No.
Okay, because it just seems like everyone I know from England has horrible fucking internet. James.
She's mobile. She's mobile.
Oh, okay.
Real quick, two things. One, I'm from Washington, not New York, although we've had our own share of riots and protests. And the difference is easy to tell. Second, right now the networks in England, especially the mobile networks, are jammed. It's very similar to what happened after 9/11, as far as everyone being overwhelmed, or the mobile networks being overwhelmed with people trying to get in touch with friends and loved ones and businesses and things like that.
Or fellow looters or rioters.
Yeah. Well, I think we have her back. Hello, can you hear us, Tamsin?
Womble is so overly enthusiastic.
I'm being polite and friendly.
Oh, she's kind of there. She's kind of crackling.
Can you hear us? Hello?
Tamsin?
Son of a bitch.
Hello, Tamsin.
Right. What we'll do is I'll just talk about what she's been doing. She's set up this website called Riot Rescue. It's all started through Twitter, and there is a Twitter account called @RiotRescue, and what she's basically been trying to do is organise getting support, or a place where people can go to find out what support's available to them, and if people are trying to help the people that have been affected, they can say, this is what I've got that's available.
Cool.
She's just saying in chat that she's having problems staying connected, it seems.
Tamsin, can you hear us now? Yeah, she's connected, but she's not responding, or she can't hear us.
Oh boy.
She's typing, so she may be able to hear us. Well, let's wait for her to hopefully get her connection sorted out, or whatever's happening.
Yeah, I'll just. Ooh. computer's beeping at me. Here's the
So
link
continue
to-
telling us about what her. So is that all? Is that it? Is that all you had to
It's-
say about her?
Well, no, it's not. It's changed a little bit since I last looked at it because it's moving on. But there's lots of different sort of things. It's to do with they're looking at trying to help rebuild Reeves, which is the furniture shop that had 5 generations of people working for it. That got burnt down, and it's looking for support with all the people that have been homes. So support where you can go and find out how you can help them if you've got donations, how people can get support rebuilding their businesses, and all of these sorts of things. And also there's a way that you can find out if you want to help, what you can do. Tamsin's actually done an 8-minute video for us to tell us all about this herself, should she not be able to come onto the show.
Very kind of her.
Yeah.
Will we be putting that on the Skeptic TV show YouTube channel?
Yes, we will be.
Excellent.
And it seems that she can hear us, but she can't get herself heard.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear her now too. Yay! It works. Fuck.
Hello.
We'll be able to hear from Tamsin now, as opposed to me whittering on.
Oh, thank
Okay.
God.
Okay. So yeah, thanks very much for having me on. I was really pleased when you got in touch and mentioned it.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah.
Yes, it's an honor.
Oh, thank you. We've had an amazing response to the riotrescue.com website, and in fact, because for the first sort of 2 days, I basically sort of put my own business on hold, which is difficult to do when you run your own business. I put it on hold, and I was trying to sort it all out myself. But then yesterday, I actually put a very quick call out on Twitter for volunteers. And
Yeah, I saw that.
I've ended up with 12 people, one of whom is from India.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Bless him. Yeah. Who are all now working really hard. There's going to be a complete site rebuild, and the idea really was that there were some brilliant things going on, but they were very they were like a kind of a short-term, here's what we need now type of reaction, which was absolutely right. But then there were other people who were offering to help, and it was stuff that was going to be helpful for the longer-term issues. And so that's what I've tried to put together. So the idea being that it's going to be, it's going to be there for 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever it needs to be, so that, the businesses that have been affected, the communities that have been affected, people's homes, they can actually get that support and help them get back on their feet.
Awesome.
Excellent. So what sort of is the stuff that's needed sort of immediately with the people that are in need of sort of homes and
Besides
stuff, those sort of
volunteers.
stuff? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the immediate sort of needs?
Like, I'm sure you guys need hands, but besides that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all I've really done is just sort of coordinate the information. But what I'm seeing from that point of view, looking at all the different things, there's a number of different funds that have been set up, some of which are to help specific people who have suffered where it's been very prominent in the news, and that's really wonderful. So things like, the Reeves Corner store that was burnt down, there's a Rebuild Reeves fund, which I think a lot of people identified with. There's another fund for the guy that got the stuff stolen out of his backpack from the people that were supposed to be helping him. Yeah, there's another specific fund for him. However, there's also some much bigger ones. There's the UK Disaster Relief Fund that's been set up, and because not everybody who's been affected was actually on the news and has had that kind of attention. So there's a number of different funds, and we've listed all of those individually on the site. So if you want to donate money, you can go there and do that. There have been incredible collections going on for clothes, food, things that you don't think about, like phone chargers. If your home's been burnt down, you probably didn't grab your phone charger on the way out, and being able to communicate with your family and friends is just so important. So all of those kind of collections seem to have done really, really well. And I think then the next stage that I'm starting to see is people actually offering to go and help rebuild some of the shops and properties that have been damaged. And we've even had offers of people offering stock to go back into the retail units as well, which is just amazing. So I think that's really where the new need's going to be. So if you have lost your business, then you've probably lost your computer, you've probably lost your all your furniture, you've lost your stock, you've lost all your records, you know, everything like that. So it's some of the stuff that's not quite as fun as sort of turning up with a broom with hundreds and hundreds of other people, but actually like kind of boring stuff in a way.
All the mundane kind of bits and pieces.
Yeah, all the stuff that we take for granted, basically. Yeah.
I mean,
I'll make sure to send toilet paper. I always say that.
I mean, I
find I don't have any, then I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, I know. I've been sort of taking part in the occasional thing of get a shoebox and fill it full of stuff to go to sort of like places that don't have quite so much. And they're always saying about it's always the little things, so like soap and toothbrushes and things like that. So things like your mobile phone charger that you don't always think about. So making sure you've got pen and paper, because if you've lost your house, you're going to be having to deal with insurance companies, or if you lost your business, it's the same. All that stuff with insurance companies, and you needing to be writing things down so you can keep a record of what's going on, and so you can get yourself back on your feet.
Yeah, exactly.
Awkward turtle. Yeah.
I know. I just paused. I was checking windows on my computer. He's like, it's stored. Gotta think of something quick. Freeze.
Well, let's talk to Badger also a little bit. I mean, we invited him on the call, and then Tamsin showed up, and then they kind of died. So.
Oh, did Tamsin? Okay.
No, she's still here. I'm just saying that we invited you onto the call also. So.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. If I can just throw this out, what has been most interesting to me has been the reaction of everyone outside of the riots, where they've been basically using it as an excuse to project their very strongest views and most simplistic and damaging views about what human beings are and do. For instance, the videos about this being a new, a European version of the Arab Spring, or race has been a huge issue for some people, and they can't be trusted, they being any one of a number of particular groups. And the whole idea that force is somehow the right thing to do here, either force in support of the rioters, even though they're not, unlike in the Arab Spring, they're not saying what they want other than this place sucks, and life sucks so badly I'm willing to burn it down. At least the ones that are doing it. The other people who are living there, the majority who are actually just trying to live, are just hanging in there, or are trying to move forward. Or they're saying, okay, we should give the police, plastic bullets and riot batons, or bring in the police, or bring in the military. The last thing you want to do when you have people who are willing to destroy the place they live is to bring down even more force on them.
They'll just react worse.
Yes, because, I mean, it's a pretty classic problem in conflict resolution. If you have people who feel they have nothing to lose, the last thing you want to do is make them feel they have nowhere to go. They have no retreat. There is no escape. In the immediate sense. Not in the sense, yes, they're going to be arrested, and I know they're using CCTV, which is kind of creepy. But, I get it. We went through that,
and at least in the UK, there is legislation to protect people from the inappropriate use of CCTV.
Yeah, well, given our NSA scandal over here, the wiretapping legislation kind of the Republicans have managed to make me, and to some degree the Democrats have managed to make me somewhat lose faith in the idea of using legislation to protect. We're going to have to rebuild our government over the next 15 or 20 years if we manage to do it at all, to the point where we can trust things. But what fascinated me was the reaction to the flash mob riots over here. What they're doing is they're using social media, like Twitter and Facebook and things like that, to say, hey, let's meet in this one area. And they'll go around slapping people and stealing stuff and organizing flash mobs, but not in the fun way. And for instance, San Francisco, just recently, there was a protest at the subway there. They shut down cell phone service in the trains to stop people from organizing. So really, the idea of control over social media, it's not going to be in London that it happens first. It's already happening in other places. that they're
Well,
starting
haven't Pakistan blocked Facebook? Not Facebook, some websites following the first Jawar Mohammed Day. I mean, I know it's not connected to the riots, but
yeah,
there
they
was some
blocked the
censorship
whole.
following that.
Yeah, they blocked the whole internet. they cut Pakistan off the internet multiple times, and because of an error in the way the routers were programmed that were connected to YouTube's ISP, and because Pakistan's network guy, the person who implemented it, was a little overzealous, they managed to block. If you want the technical explanation, I can give it to you. But what they managed to do was take YouTube off the internet by changing a router command in Pakistan.
Yeah, I think I heard about that. They because they wanted to try and change it just for their country, they end up taking it down for the entire world.
Yes, it was pretty sad, but and that's what happens when you have a system that's designed to allow the flow of information. And what I mean a system is our society that now requires the free flow of information. Tamsin fell off. Basically, when you start throwing wrenches in that, you're going to get weird unintended consequences because the system, the communication system, the emergency responders, nothing is designed to work without it. If Tamsin has anything to say, she's the
I'm
guest.
sorry, I've only just been able to hear. I kind of lost.
Oh dear.
I was just wondering, Tamsin, are you based in London? Are you? Because if you are, you've probably been much closer to what's been going on than any of us. So I don't know whether or not you've got any thoughts on what has been going on with the rioting and how it felt when around your area.
And how do you think things are now as well?
It's weird. Everything almost seems to be back to normal. A great hole. A bit like after we chew on the water.
She breaking up for anyone else, or is it just me?
Yeah, I think Tamsin, if a couple of us are hearing you break up on us, can you try again?
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Better. And now we can't hear her at all. Further proving my point that England probably has one of the shittiest internets on the planet.
To be fair, I think Tamsin is quite mobile. I've managed to find a place in this house where the Faraday cage that I live in isn't eating my signal.
That's cool. It's also nice to have, a place where, the internet doesn't, crap out depending on what part of the house you're in. I just keep... Oh, she's on an iPad. That explains a lot.
I love Ethernet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had to threaten
I think we might have lost her again.
I've had to threaten my internet company because today was the second day in 3 days that they had a service interruption of more than 5 hours for no reason.
Ouch.
I know, and it's especially on... it almost killed me on Wednesday.
Was it Verizon?
No, it's Comcast, and it was really bad on Wednesday because I had
going off topic, boys.
Well, we're waiting for Tamsin.
Do I have to put you on the naughty step?
We're waiting for Tamsin.
Make you watch Nephilim Free videos. And Venom Fang X videos. He's off the internet
for a long time.
And Venom Fang X videos.
I'll snap that twig in half.
And, basically,
at least stay on topic.
Is it just me, or is the louder people get about this, the more crazy they are regarding, for instance, Marmite Man 4 and Pat Condell are sounding almost identical.
Yeah, we discussed Marmite 4 earlier when Rise was on. Did you know, apparently, you missed this bit, Gorilla199 was saying how with the right cleanup, they were using brooms, and brooms are a pagan symbol because witches ride brooms.
I certainly hope Riot Rescue don't use pagan brooms.
He's so special.
He's so special. Wow.
Okay.
And
We're an equal opportunity organisation.
I think Tamsin was saying that we were equal opportunities. I think Tamsin's going to try to head off now. But it's been great having you on and getting to hear what's the brilliant work that's going on behalf of the people that have been caught out with the riots. And
Yes,
I did say earlier
Tamsin.
thank you, Tamsin.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tamsin.
Give there.
And again, I've got it. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we will get the bits and pieces up on our YouTube channel for you ASAP and let you know what the links are to them as well, so that you can use them on your site. But as I said, thank you. It's been brilliant having you here with us.
Bye.
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 Wow. It is so crazy trying to put together a community after that, because once you have a situation where at any point you could see something and go, hey, I saw that person punching someone down into the ground, or, fighting the police, or being beaten by the police, or it really changes the entire dynamic for years.
Yeah, I can't remember how I found the video, but I watched someone's video where they went through a race riot, an example of a race riot that happened in Detroit, and they were saying one of the things that happened is some sort of sections of blocks got burnt to the ground, and they still have not to this day been rebuilt, and it was in the 50s and 60s, I think.
I mean,
Yes.
I'm sure it'd probably be comparable to a natural disaster. I mean, when
well, it was referred to being like the Blitz.
I mean,
when seeing some of the buildings go up.
When Hurricane Ike came through here, I mean, there's a similar reaction out of the people. I mean, afterwards, not like rioting and shit. I mean, it was kind of a sense of bringing people together, kind of. People getting together for the greater good after what's the word I'm trying to think of? The riots aren't a natural disaster, but after a significant event that causes a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Well, and not only damage to the people, but the community. I mean, the city. Look at what happened after Katrina, where you had immediately after Katrina, where you had people saying, "Oh, there are people shooting at helicopters," and "Oh, look at those looters." And the picture was of someone who was black, and "Oh, look at those people who found food at a store." And
white people.
They were white. Yeah, it really brings out some ugly. I mean, you've got I think the trial has ended, but there was basically one of the towns right outside of New Orleans. They blocked the bridge, and people were trying to get out of the city, and they were standing there with guns and saying, "No, you've got to turn around and go back there because we're not letting you in."
Yeah, it's actually, I don't know. New Orleans is kind of an interesting place. I mean, just the
interesting.
aftermath
It's such a gentle word.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, like, I've already said enough things on this broadcast to sound racist inadvertently. But I'm just saying that, I mean, because I live here in Houston, or at least I did when Hurricane Ike hit the Houston area and just completely decimated the surrounding lower sea level places, and it was a lot different reaction. It wasn't let's all steal shit. It was, oh my God, let's all drive to Clear Lake and try to help all the people whose houses have been pretty much driven away.
That's pretty much sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
That was pretty much the reaction in Katrina. That was the major reaction after Katrina. That was the major reaction after the DC riots that were, I think, in the 90s. That was the DC riots in the 60s were pretty ugly. I don't remember those, but after the Rodney King riots, when things finally calmed down, it was a spirit of cooperation. It's right during it, and it's also people who are watching but not involved, watching from a distance via TV, that really have the crazy going. because the former, because it's happening to their homes, it's happening to something that's very central to part of their identity, and from a distance, it's, I wish I could articulate why. I've been trying all night to try and figure out why this is, but it's like these images of like the trucker after the Rodney King riots, or in the Rodney King riots, who was pulled out of his truck, the white truck, and beaten by a bunch of black guys. That really, when that image touches someone emotionally, there's really no filter. When someone is watching TV or even talking on the computer, and this explains a lot about YouTube trolls, you're channeling straight to the amygdala, and you just get the first thing that comes to mind in a lot of cases. And that's why you have people like Gorilla 199 and Marmite Man 4 and all them who are just perfectly free to say the most outrageous shit about other human beings.
Yeah, they wouldn't normally have a platform.
Yeah.
But they've now got the platform to share their crazy views. The flip side is that we get a platform to do stuff as well.
Well, then again, I mean, just to, I know we're getting a slightly off topic, but I mean, like, people like that, they're just, they're internet tough guys. They're the kind of people who can't say this shit in public, so I'm going to hide behind a computer and do it because I can't get punched in the face for fucking saying shit.
There's another thing here. Let me post a link real quick, just because this is absolutely classic.
Whilst me, on the other hand, I say stuff to people's face all the time, because good luck punching me, bitch.
Hey, I'm sure I'd punch you and get you punch straight, and I'd get you square in the testicles, I'm sure.
Well, that's just because you're short, so yeah.
I know. Yeah, so I'd probably better chance, particularly if I get someone tall to come up to you first.
Found it. Okay. I think...
If you post it in Skype, I'll post it in chat for everyone.
Okay. I think it has more to do with this. You just want to see it first, so I don't...
I think you've got something to post in the chat, but I'm
did.
Literally...
Oh.
No, but...
I posted it in the SkepticTV broadcast chat.
Yeah. You've posted it in Skype, but I think you need to be an op to post it in the TV chat.
No, I am.
I've posted it for you.
Okay, thank you. But it's that whole idea of Philip Zimbardo, who's the guy who did the Stanford prison experiment back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Basically, when you are faced in a situation where you're interacting with other human beings, where you're in an ego competition with other human beings, but there is something is somehow removed from your own identity a lot, as in you're wearing a costume, or you're wearing a uniform, or a mask or some sort. You really, the dampers on your behavior are just sort of removed. And that ego thing is really important, because Anonymous, before they started coming out and doing all sorts of press releases and shit like that, managed to avoid this by avoiding credit for what they were doing. And so the only reason they were doing that was for the lulz, for their own satisfaction. But as soon as they started posting press releases and people wanting to play ego games joined in, then those particular people who wanted to play ego games started to destroy stuff and started to do really stupid stuff like hacking law enforcement websites, which is absolutely the most ridiculous thing you can possibly do if you want to remain anonymous.
Yeah, because they're just going to, it might take them some time, but they will get you.
It is absolutely crazy.
It's funny to meet people that actually post pictures or video or shit of them doing illegal stuff on the internet, because it's extremely funny when you hear that the cops use this to actually catch people. Like I saw a story of they were driving down the streets after a storm or something, and they were basically driving over the puddles to get everyone wet. And they got them for some kind of disorderly conduct for doing that, because they recorded themselves doing it and put it on YouTube, because obviously they're assholes. So I think it's funny that way.
And to tie it all together, you have basically anon or community people who caught the woman who like went up to pet the cat and then tossed the cat in a trash can or a dustbin
or that horrible bitch who threw those puppies in a lake or whatever.
Yes.
Or the person that put those 2 kittens in a vacuum sealing bag and turned the vacuum on.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, that was a while ago. I think it was Badger. I can't remember.
Well, that's why Anonymous is both like at the same time the heroes and the villains of the internet.
Well, the important thing to remember about Anonymous, and to tie it back to the riots, about any large mass crowd, especially one that is emotionally very unstable and active, is that there is no the. Speaking of them in the singular is very, very dangerous when you connect it to the word is, because immediately you're saying something that is not true. I mean, when you're talking about hive mind, yeah, I remember that. When you're talking about a hive mind of any sort, you have the people who are defending their homes. You have the people who are out there to stand in, try and be near the front of the crowd that's doing damage, to throw the rock at the jewelry store, to direct the crowd's attention at that, so they'll break in and then you can get stuff. You have the people who are just looking to burn stuff down. There you have people who are looking to get the hell out of that area. Really, in Anonymous, it's the same kind of thing. And so be careful of the word the. But the combination of what happened with WikiLeaks, Anonymous, and with the riots, we're going to see a lot more filters on the social media and especially the internet. And with IPv6, essentially anonymity will be over, because IPv6, the next version of the internet protocol, basically has enough of an address space that each and every device, I think it's like each and every grain of sand on the beaches of California, if not the entire world, could have its own internet address.
So why would that end anonymity? Couldn't that pretty much make it super and anonymous?
Why? They can trace down everybody has everything has their own unique address. You could get it from you could have that address programmed in from the manufacturer as one of the standards they're talking about.
It.
Yeah, you might, for registering to things like YouTube and that, you might have your handle, your username, or whatever, and you might go through internet chat rooms and stuff on that username. But if you cause problems, there would be a record of connecting whatever username you're using to your device when you were logged on through it. Or say you used a friend's device to access your account on YouTube, they would be able to connect your activity on YouTube for that time frame to that ISP, which vaguely makes sense to be a good thing, because if you've got nothing to hide, you shouldn't have a problem with this piece of information being made available.
Except for the fact that people do squicky things sometimes, not things that are illegal, but things that they just want to keep private.
I know. I mean, it's that's not
like
necessarily
watch tons of pornography.
Pretty much.
That would only be a problem if you had someone get in to power that was then starting to put a crackdown on things.
What you mean, like Michelle Bachmann?
Yeah. You're religious, right? But we are kind of strolling massively off topic, but we are very near to the end of the show.
Yeah. Our beloved governor, Reverend Rick Perry, just decided to throw
Perry, yeah.
Yeah, he just decided to throw his hat into the president's race because there's not enough fucking idiots in the Republican primary as it is. So the guy who decided to pray for the economy to have it be followed 2 days later by a 600-point drop in the Dow Jones is now running for president.
Yeah,
that doesn't sound
just to
good.
see what happens.
Yeah, there is something 62 Nettie said in the chat, that violence should be the very last resort. I'd like to address that. Violence should not be a resort for solving a problem, because violence does not solve problems.
No.
It destroys the context they are in. Essentially, when you want to completely obliterate the situation that the problem exists in, that's what violence is for. And I'm not saying it's a good thing, or necessarily a bad thing, because sometimes that's a good idea. Rarely. But if you're trying to protect your neighborhood, violence and self-defense, you are not protecting your neighborhood. You are attempting to destroy the attackers.
Yeah.
Or at least end their will to fight.
But I like violence.
And so
I mean, in a self-defense situation, the idea of using some violence to not necessarily actually hurting them, but appearing prepared to do violence can be good if you're wanting to try and make them think about running away. But obviously, if you are doing something, you got to be prepared to follow it through. But the only time I would see something like that justified is self-defense.
Basically, violence only gets rid of a problem by creating an even bigger one.
Yeah.
By creating a great big
I don't know. Sometimes there you go. I don't, I kind of think that, it gets rid of the problem.
Yeah, however, the unintended consequences can get really exciting. This is why bringing in the regular military, which D-Land and Cole has been posting a lot of interesting things from the Ministry of Defense about how that would be rather difficult.
Well, it's because we don't have a National Guard the way you do, because your National Guard is kind of like your internal military to an extent, isn't it?
Sort of. It is military that is at the beck and call of the governors, the state governors for emergencies, unless the president calls them up.
Kind of like militias.
Yeah.
Except not militias.
Well, technically, in some states, every able-bodied citizen, male citizen between the ages of 18 and 60-something is a member of the militia. I forget which.
Sweet. When do I get my card?
Not sure.
And my gun.
No, you have to provide your own firearm. That's
the fuck. But I only have a shotgun, not an assault rifle.
Yeah.
Not cool.
We do need to start doing the whole wrapping up thing, because we do have about 3 minutes to go. Just quickly though, with bringing up the Republican thing again. Earlier, before we started going on air, I was talking with Blue, and I gave him a book recommendation, which may or may not interest people here. It's called The Republican War on Science. It's been out for a number of years. Yeah, Chris Mooney. I've got that book, but I must say it's one of my many crimes as such is I have lots of books, but I haven't yet got around to reading it. But it does go through all of these problems that we have because of the Republicans' opinions and on the nature of science. But that was a quick aside. So
there was also an article on CNN titled "Are the Republicans at war with reality?" I think the simple answer is yes, but I wonder.
But we've got little time now, so I need to whiz through our thank yous. Okay, firstly, I'll start with Cricket and Rise, because they were our two callers during the show. Thank you very much for contributing. And then I'd also like to thank Tamsin, who isn't here again at the moment, but I think
she's typing down there.
It's I think that's just an echo typing. She's not online anymore. Who we will hear a little bit more about her from her on the blog, and I will be making sure that some videos go up for her, as we said that we would. And I would also then like to thank the tech guy Colin, who is brilliant and does all this work for us. And then we've had it. Yep. Then we had it in the call Yosh, who's gone but was here at the start of the show. And then we've got Sound.
Back a fucking Baconator.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we had Bear, who was talking earlier, but it's gone quiet.
Yeah, it's gone extremely quiet because you guys had a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Yes.
And Stealth Badger, and I think that's everyone I need to thank, unless I've forgotten anyone.
What the fuck?
Oh, sorry.
You've forgotten
nice.
You forgot me and the drunk boy.
I thanked Blue. I thanked Blue.
How the fuck did you forget me? I'm the asshole who was interrupting all the time. What the fuck?
Because you showed up late.
Yeah.
I was 7 minutes late. It's not my fucking fault.
Hey, I can't help it if you're not playing the game.
Oh, you fucking bitch.
So, Lewis, did the super salad actually survive?
No, it was left in tatters like a riot just ran through it.
Can I just remind
the servers had to put on riot shields.
Can I just remind viewers, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, go to YouTube and search for the channel Skeptic TV Show. That's where we'll be posting the videos
Visit
from
our website at
Riot Rescue.
Yeah, we will hear a little. Yes,
it's
we
all
will
on
hear
the
a little
blog.
bit more. Yeah, we will hear a little bit more from Tamsin on the blog, and we will be posting up some highlights and the video from Tamsin on the YouTube channel. So thank you all for coming in and listening to us ramble about this. We will be back on. Yep, back on next time where we will do our postponed Dunning-Kruger, however it's said. In 2 weeks it is, isn't it?
Yes, and I'm looking forward to this one.
Yes.
Yay!
It should be good
See you
fun.
all in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Thank you,
I'm gonna be
Womble.
starting college then, or my my
I'm
second
gonna be
year.
drunk then.
Okay, well, bye everyone. Have
Bye.
fun.
Goodbye. See you in 2 weeks' time.
2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
David.